Alien, rated R.
Hey there, and welcome to the Vassals of Kingsgrave. In this episode, we'll be giving an audio commentary for the 1979 sci-fi horror classic Alien, directed by Ridley Scott and starring Sigourney Weaver, Ian Holm, and John Hurt. My name's Duncan, or Valkyrist from the forums, and with me is...
This is Katie, Lady Griffin on the forums.
Cool. So, thanks a lot for joining me, Katie. Now, you seem pretty excited to discuss this movie on the forums. Can I assume you're a big fan of the movie?
I'm a big fan of the franchise. This is probably my third least favorite of the entire Alien series, and that includes Alien versus Predator.
Whoa. Really? You
yeah.
like it? Well, how would you rank the movies?
Oh, geez. I'm going to be controversial. Alien 3 is my favorite, and then
what?
Aliens after that, and maybe Alien versus Predator after that, and then okay. Alien.
This episode is over. Yeah, I'm stubborn like with Terminator. Like I don't mind the later Terminator movies, but I don't even consider them part of the series. I consider 1 and 2 the series, and then the other 2 are like kind of pretty good fan fiction. But yeah, same with Alien. Like I don't consider the movies after Aliens to exist, because Aliens, like the whole movie is her trying to save this little girl, and the first thing they do in Aliens 3 is kill her. It's crazy. It's so frustrating.
It's really unforgivable, but I feel the same way about Alien Resurrection, which is just a shitstorm of Joss Whedon's worst habits, and
Is that Joss Whedon?
It is. He directed it.
Oh wow, okay, yeah. I remember because I watched the whole series in one go when I was like 14. I rented all 4 DVDs, and I loved the first 2, and the second 2 was like, what happened here? So I haven't watched the third one or the fourth one since I was like 14. But I've watched the other 2 heaps since then. I love the second one as well. I think the first one's still my favorite though, because it's so creepy and yeah, scary. I mean, it sort of parallels nicely with the Terminator 1 and 2, because the first one is so horror oriented, and the second one is a lot more action sci-fi heavy.
Also, James Cameron.
That's right. Yeah, you can see a lot of his mannerisms and style in the second one, definitely. And where would you rank? Oh, so Resurrection you'd put last. Okay, cool.
I don't even count Resurrection. Like you said, that's fan fiction.
Yeah. Maybe I should watch 3, because apparently there's a director's cut of the third part that is better.
I think that movie is pretty misunderstood, and I think maybe I just have a bias towards it because it was the very first one I saw of the franchise when I was probably, I don't know, 10 or 11, and I thought it was it was unlike anything I'd ever seen before, and I thought, like, at my age, I thought it was weird and sexy, and so it stuck in my mind as my favorite.
Yeah, I always remember whenever I went to the video store as a kid, I would see the game for Super Nintendo, and it had that really cool logo for Alien 3, and that's like, I really love the logo. But when I actually watched the movie, I wasn't that into it. Maybe I should rewatch it, because it's been a while since I watched it. So I was comparing it obviously to the first 2. So lemon cake rating for the first Alien movie?
I mean, come on, you got to give it. I'll give it a 4 out of 5 just for personal preference, but it's indisputably a classic. So if we're going like for the Criterion edition, it'll be 5 out of 5.
Right, yeah, same. 5 out of 5 for me. Why not? Yeah, definitely. That and Terminator are probably my favorite sci-fi movies, so I'm glad we can talk about them. Cool. So I guess we should explain to listeners that unlike a regular episode of the podcast where we discuss a movie or a series overall, this episode is meant to be played while you're actually watching the movie Alien, and it'll provide like a running commentary on the film's plot and production design and themes, or just whatever observations we happen to pick up on. Hopefully we can fill the 2 hours and there isn't too many silences, because it's basically impossible to edit a commentary, but I've got heaps of trivia that I can rattle off at various points. So yeah, I mean, do we want to try and sync up our movies? This is usually the most unintentionally hilarious part, because we can never do it properly. But so have you got your movie ready to go?
Yeah, I'm on the 20th Century Fox screen.
Okay, is it because I'm before it? Do you wanna?
You're before it. Says 20th Century Fox Home Entertainment in a little letterbox.
Yeah, no, that's because I'm starting with the actual. Because I've just got I've just got like an iTunes download of the movie, and it's just the old version of the 20th Century Fox, like
All right.
the grainy. Do you want
What am I?
to? See, this is always the problem because the logos are different for every region, and the DVDs
Right.
have
I'm not
different
even.
logos.
Oh, I'm at the Lucas THX logo.
Okay,
I
I
didn't
don't even have that one on mine.
even.
I knew this would
Hang
happen.
on.
Even when
Still
we
go.
do sync up, it sort of drifts out of sync. I don't know, maybe because we're on opposite sides of the world or something.
Ridley Scott has a introduction
Oh my
before this.
God.
He wants to show off his Ridley Grahams. Okay, let me fast forward to this. Oh, Jesus Christ, I don't think I can. Well, it's only about 30 seconds, so it should be.
I'll add in the last time I added in the logos like at full volume, so people should be able to sync up with their copy of the movie. But yeah, last time I tried to go in as deep as I could to the actual movie because I knew. I mean, Glenn's introduction was about a minute of logos. Mine was about 10 seconds. So it just depends on what copy
All right.
you have.
Now I'm at 20th Century Fox. I think this is, going into the movie.
Damn it. My PS3 controller needs to snap. It went to sleep. Okay, can you hear that? Maybe I
Nope.
should turn it down. Hang on. Okay.
Okay, I'm pausing at a Brandywine Ronald Shusett production. That's basically the.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yep.
All right.
Okay, well, that's as close as we're gonna get.
Okay, so all right, you ready?
Ridley Scott film, yep. Oh, sorry, yeah. I've got the first little stick of the alien logo.
I don't have that yet.
Damn it! I knew this would happen.
Okay, there it is. Okay.
All that planning.
Tom Skerritt.
I'm gonna pause. Tell me when Veronica Cartwright disappears from the screen.
She's gone. All right.
Okay, now we're in sync.
She's taking her supporting actress Academy Award with her.
Yeah, I'm already interested to see how the order of actors are built because you think of, I mean, I listed Ian Holm and John Hurt because I think they're sort of at this point far more recognizable actors, but I guess Cartwright got a bigger billing even though I've never heard of her since.
She was in The Birds. That's about all I know about her.
Okay, yeah, was she the little girl in The Birds?
I couldn't tell you. I don't think so. Well, no, I couldn't tell you.
She's pretty young in this movie, so. And that
Sigourney.
was Birds is like the 60s, I think.
Sigourney Weaver's first leading role. She had a bit part in Annie Hall before this.
Ah, yes, I remember that. Yeah, Annie Hall. So this is her first one. Well, it's a pretty big one to start off on. It's like one of the most iconic female roles ever.
She's pretty. It's an iconic role, but she's maybe like the characters are so underwhelming for me in this movie, and it's intentional. Like it's completely done on purpose in the writing, but she's not terribly standout, at least to me. At least in this one. I mean, in Alien, she's kick-ass, but.
Well, I think that's kind of the point. I mean, they're not soldiers; they're basically just space truckers. But she kind of has to step into this role, has to become a leader because she's like she says in the movie she's a third officer, but she basically has to take charge and find this kind of survival instinct. So that's kind of what's exciting, having that sort of come into the foreground. Whereas in Aliens, obviously that arc's already complete; she already is a badass. I love this ship design. It's so detailed.
The diesel future.
Yeah. And this is kind of like the Star Wars aesthetic. Everything feels really worn out. I mean, the original movies, everything seems all beaten up and worn out. It feels like even though it's futuristic technology, it seems kind of old and clunky.
Apparently they went to like aerial battleship graveyards and just yanked out a bunch of parts and mangled them together.
Right, yeah. I think I read that, yeah. So, yeah, it seems all beaten up.
It's also kind of a lot of Stanley Kubrick shots of long pans down hallways.
Yeah.
No one is standing at the other end.
Yeah, I like how still everything is. Like it's just technology without people in it. It's obviously man-made stuff, but there's no people around it. It seems eerily still and weird without people to hustle and bustle around.
Well, it's also introducing us to the the environment and letting us know that there are blind corners in this place.
Yes. Yes, it's the perfect horror arena.
This part is always confusing for me.
Which part?
It's about to blip on the helmet, and I don't understand the construction of the scene or why. What is the purpose of reflecting on the helmet? Like the computer's about to come on.
Mm. What do you mean? What's the purpose of reflecting on the helmet?
Well, no, I guess I'm just looking at it from a director standpoint of like what is it trying to what is the communication of the scene of having the output of the computer reflected in the empty helmet, I guess, other than to just reemphasize that the crew is not there. I don't know. It's always been a little strange looking to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he's trying to say there. I guess, yeah, as you say, just this complete emptiness. It's like technology talking to itself. It has to wake up the humans. So the humans are in hibernation, I guess, because the space journeys take so long that it's more practical to freeze them, I guess. I don't know. Is this the first time that's been in a sci-fi work? Because it's kind of a common trope now. No? Okay.
No, I mean, Ridley Scott.
He ripped it off.
No, well, of course. I mean, it's a trope long before
Okay.
1979, but he doesn't believe in cryogenics at all. He thinks it's just ludicrous, which is fine. But he said, I'm gonna be quoting a lot of the director's commentary because I watched it earlier today. But he's something he said that was actually interesting is he's much more interested in visceral information on the screen than logical information.
Okay.
And that he would rather something be viscerally interesting to look at than it to make a perfect technical sense.
Right. Yeah. Okay. That's cool. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of what's weird about them. I mean, there's this amazing shot a bit later in the film where they're trying to broadcast their signal to an Earth satellite. They don't realize they're nowhere near Earth, and you have this echo of the signal moving through space, and it's this really creepy effect. But obviously, it doesn't make sense because there's no sound in space.
Right. Well, they could have audio emulators. You never know.
Maybe, yeah.
There's also vapor
Well,
from the shuttle when it takes off, which doesn't make any sense either.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. All the dripping and stuff like that. Yeah. But it just looks cool, so we forgive it.
There's space diapers.
I like how they're almost like children kind of waking up from a nap. Like the ship mother is like waking them up, like they're kids. And the actual pod looks like it resembles the sort of flower or the egg flowers that you see, the organic kind of alien eggs we see in the downed spaceship later on. But it's obviously synthetic, whereas the eggs are organic.
This movie inspired me to get cereal rectangles. It's just so neat and orderly.
I like the you can tell it's from the 70s. Like the acting style is feels very improvisational. I can't even say the word, but it feels very method, I guess. They're all improvising and stuff.
Decided to bring a cat.
Yeah.
It seems a weird choice. Like, do you really have expendable resources to
Yeah, I
bring
don't know
pets?
what the point of that is. Like, do they have a little cat pod? Does it sleep?
I guess one of them just sleeps with the cat.
That's weird.
I guess it's just a screenwriting thing of
Yeah.
save the cat, pet the cat.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm trying to think of like a practical reason. Maybe having an animal companion sort of maintains your sanity or something. I don't know.
Oh, this is my favorite part. He's gonna pull some punch cards out. Look.
Nice.
So good. I love futures of the past.
Yeah. Archaic technologies in the future, unlike the television screens. From the
Look at all those buttons. What are those for?
They each have a purpose. And then
Oh,
none
this
of
is
them are
fair.
labeled. Like, how could you possibly know what each one does unless you've memorized it?
There's some in the ceiling. Look.
You're right. It's just completely. It just looks cool. That's why he's put it in. Like, there's no practical design to this spaceship.
It's always ominous when you give computers names like Mother or Father or Hal.
Yeah. You don't start naming compute machines.
You're asking
That's
for
where
a
it
bill.
begins. Yeah.
2037, we're almost there.
Yeah.
This is the future we have to look forward to.
We got to catch up.
It's like a flight simulator. It's great.
Yeah. So what's the? They said at the beginning, what's the mission? They're sort of towing mineral ore or something. They're just transporting resources, I guess, back to Earth.
20 million tons or 20, yeah, it has to be 20 million tons of ore.
Right. So yeah, they're basically just truckers. But we find out later, obviously, that this was all a ruse to get them into contact with the alien so they could bring it back by the company who want to use it as a weapon.
I think the Wayland Company's seasonal agenda of weaponizing wild animals probably needs to be reevaluated.
Yeah, they need to go over that strategy.
It's never made a lot of sense to me. I mean, I guess the idea is that you drop one of these things in a hostile area and it'll just take out the population, but it's kind of like we're gonna weaponize wild tigers.
I think send attach machine guns to sharks, but I think it's more they want to study the organic matter, like because it's so unseen before. So maybe they can make medicines from it or weapons or
Sure.
I mean
It is
its blood is acid. You can do something with that.
Oh yeah, and it could also survive in a vacuum and grow at an alarming rate.
Yeah, it's the perfect organism. Maybe we can fuse it with human DNA or something.
Oh, shut up. That happens. Don't remind me that that happens.
Is that what the company's called? Wayland.
Waylon, it's Waylon Young Kai. I'm taking no, that's Game of Thrones. It's Waylon Young something. It's supposed to be. It's kind of like
I wish they were literally called the company.
well, they call it that in the movie.
Yeah.
But this is kind of like we're moving out of new wave science fiction of the 60s and 70s towards the mega corporations of cyberpunk in the early 80s. So it's all about ominous Western corporations meeting
Like
Eastern corporations. So it's Wayland and then a Japanese name.
or the Tyrell Corporation in Blade Runner.
Yeah. There's a deleted scene. I was watching it earlier, and Ridley Scott was basically talking about how, in his mind, if you're going to be hauling ore across space for who knows how many years, that they're like the crew is probably just sleeping together constantly, and so his
Yeah.
idea was like
Yeah,
all
yeah.
these people have fucked at some point except for the science officer.
Poor Ash. The cyborg nobody loves. Yeah, I think I heard that's one of the ways. I mean, I think that's something that they do in Antarctica basically. The researchers just have sex with each other just because they want to feel like human warmth and because they're away for like years at a time. Yeah, I think I heard that there was a written scene between Dallas and Ridley where they had sex, and he feels like a couple of points through the movie they sort of show this kind of protective attitude towards each other.
Yeah. Well, also Ripley and Lambert. She after Dallas dies, it's in the deleted scene. Ripley kind of goes over and she does a very intimate gesture where she touches Lambert's lapel, and so it's implied that yeah, everyone's been fooling around.
Okay.
Originally, she was going to play. Well, she thought she was going to play Ripley. She thought she had been cast as Ripley, but when she got to the set, they're like, "Nope, you're the navigator."
Yep. You're the one who gets eviscerated by an alien.
Oh, it's implied that she gets
Probably
raped.
worse. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, we can talk about it a bit later, but there's a lot of sexually violent imagery in this movie.
Well, there's two kinds. There's the subversive kind that's primarily used against men, and then there's the very traditional kind that's used against the two women, which, eh.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I read somewhere that O'Bannon, that's the writer, sorry, I think Dan O'Bannon conceived of the film as like a form of like flipping the script on most horror movies, where it's a basically vulnerable female being preyed on by this kind of male monster. But this movie is all about a man basically being attacked and uh, orally basically invaded and impregnated by. I mean, the original, the sort of infant form of the alien is far more resembling of female anatomy. Obviously, it becomes more phallic as the creature goes into adulthood. But apparently, Geiger, who did the designs of the different stages of the alien, H.R. Geiger, conceived of it as kind of like a form of female rape, like the woman's anatomy, like invading the male face, kind of, and invading it like with tentacles or something. So a lot of weird sexual psycho stuff going on with some of the imagery.
There's a difference between that, which is interesting and reactionary, and then Ripley at a later point getting a porno shoved down her throat.
Yeah. Some are less subtle than others. Although it's kind of, you see there's kind of two things. You got the alien and the cyborg. There's two elements of sci-fi going on. I mean, the alien's the focus, the cyborg's kind of tacked on, but
he was not part of the original script. He was part of a...
Yeah, he was added by I think the producer Walter Hill, who was considered for one of the directors. Walter Hill directed like 48 Hours and The Warriors. But it's kind of, I like how it plays around with these different ideas of the human body, like that the human body can be fused with an alien and it can be reconstructed for a cyborg sort of endoskeleton or whatever. So it's not this complete thing, it's like just this series of parts, and it can be reduced down to basically meat.
Right.
There's a really messed up scene which I think was added for the director's cut, which I didn't even remember because I just watched it a couple of days ago just for some notes, and it's of what's his name, Dallas, basically cocooned and being slowly consumed by the alien.
Yeah, that's
basically
that's in director's cut.
Yeah, he's like begging to be killed. I'm like, whoa, I did not remember this. It's so good.
It's kind of weird that she goes down there at the end. It's like, there's no time. Why are you going down into the basement?
I think that's the route from the self-destruct thing to the escape pod, whatever. But we'll get to that later. That's at the end. So what are they doing now? They're trying to dock on the
trying to get down to the planet.
Because
right.
They've received is it a distress signal? Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
It's not even clear what it is. It's just a pulse that's manufactured, so they assume it's a SOS.
Right, and they listen to it and they think at first it's a signal, like a radio signal, but it could be the actual voice of an alien or something. And then they later find out it's actually a warning. I like that. I like the idea that when you look at the title of the film, Alien, you think that it's the alien luring them, the space jockey, but the space jockey's dead. It was actually trying to warn them away.
Kind of goes back to, I mean, it's a very, very old trope of finding lost ships out at sea where the crew is missing and trying to piece back together what happened to these people. It's very, that's probably one of my favorite story types, is the, just finding the abandoned station, the abandoned ship, the abandoned anything. And
definitely,
yeah, people's coffee cups are still out, and you're like, what happened here?
Yeah, it's like life was just cut short in the middle. It wasn't like a battle, it was just sort of cut short. And it's like excavating ancient civilizations of alien races. That's such a cool idea. I mean, there was more written in the script about the origins of the alien. Basically, that was supposed to be like a pyramid on the planet, and the aliens like these spores left over from like an ancient race or something that would latch themselves onto your face.
Well, if you saw a certain movie that came out in 2012.
Yeah, I did, but I don't consider that. Again, I'm stubborn. I just consider Alien 1 and 2 in the series.
I really regret. As soon as, I hadn't seen this movie in a while until I rewatched it the other day, and as soon as they happened upon the ship, I was like, man,
that's what's so cool. It's not explained. It's completely mysterious. That's what makes it powerful. Once you try to start explaining things and giving backstory, it's never as like interesting as what your imagination comes up with. Yeah, Prometheus. I mean, that film looked beautiful, but it was just stupid. Like the
Michael
plot didn't make
Fassbender
any
was,
sense.
yeah, it was I read I read a lot about that movie after it came out. It was basically it was a bunch of smart mistakes done in the name of trying to make a better movie that end up making it a stupid movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it tries to ask all these really interesting
Oh,
philosophical questions, but it doesn't have any attempt to answer them. It just
that's David Lindelof's
so
fingerprint.
stupid. Yeah. And the whole pretense that they're spending all of this money to go there based on nothing, and then they get there and they say, "Oh no, it wasn't here. Our faith has been abandoned." And then they just get back on the ship all distraught
It
and
might
like,
be
"Hey,
like
you're scientists. Have a look around. There could be some interesting stuff here."
I like my favorite review for Prometheus, and we're getting off track, but my favorite review for Prometheus was basically, I've had trips to the movie theaters with my friends that were better planned than this multi-dollar expedition.
Yeah. It's just stupid. Like, I
There's a
mean,
lot
this.
about this movie that doesn't make a lot of sense, though, of like, how did, like, we know that it's, like, it was obviously a ploy by the company to get them there, but they seem to accept it very readily, like, how does the computer not know that it's just like radiation coming off a planet or something? It might not be, be completely natural. I don't know. It just seems really stupid that our entire course has changed so we can go investigate this random radiation out in space.
Um, what do you mean random radiation? It wasn't there an actual distress
I mean,
signal?
it was a pulse, but it was. It, I'm not. It could have been anything.
Okay,
That's
yeah.
what I'm
Well,
saying. Like stuff.
I think it's implied that the company.
Oh, I
I
know
mean, I
that,
mean,
but
Ash is their man on the inside, so this has all been set up beforehand. The ship has been
of course, I
programmed
mean,
to
we
stop
know
at
that,
this
but like
point.
they don't know that at the beginning of the
Right,
movie.
right, yeah, yeah. Well, that's the thing. They don't know. They just assume they've happened across it, which is possible. I mean,
They're
probably
blue
in the
collar.
past they've happened. They've happened across some distress signals, but you don't think they would bother stopping if they were carrying cargo.
Nice little rainbow patch on their shoulder. I don't actually know what that's supposed to be. I always thought it was a rainbow when I was a kid.
So what's Ash looking at here? Is this the different elements on the planet?
Yeah, I think they ask him for atmosphere and
Right, right.
readout for
Okay.
the terrain.
Yeah.
He has a lot of little tells. Like I think we already missed, or maybe it's coming up where he kind of shudders in this really inhuman way.
Hmm. Yeah, where he said, "Is it within walking distance?" and he kind of laughs.
Mm.
Yeah, you can see him slowly manipulating everyone, but I think he does kind of. There is kind of a restraint to it, which is cool. Like he's not saying we should totally go check out that distress signal. He's saying, "Oh yeah, it's within walking distance. I mean, maybe we should check it out." I don't know, guys. What do you reckon?
Yeah, this weird little thing.
Oh,
Uh,
little jogging thing, yeah.
Arrgh.
Yeah, I thought he was going out first, but that's why he's like he's getting pumped up to go out into space, but he's just monitoring them. So apparently these spacesuits were like incredibly big and heavy and lined with nylon, and there was no like way for oxygen to get on, so the actors were like fainting basically, passing in and out under the big studio lights. So they
Well,
had to have like
apparently also
doctor on
the
hand.
aerosol from sorry, but the aerosol from their little there's like an outlet on the top of the helmet that spurts out steam every now and then. Apparently the aerosol was leaking into their helmets and asphyxiating them.
Oh God, that's. I mean, sometimes you think acting's easy, but man, these guys go through the ringer, getting entrails thrown on them.
I mean, look at this. Like, let's go walk out in this, guys. Let's go walk out in this, mineral storm.
It'll be fine. I guess
We
you
can't.
kind of think when you see the space suits that nothing can break it. Like I don't know why, but I guess we just think it's like armor basically. But yeah, the alien just sort of melts right through it.
No visibility. Like multiple times, they're like, "Well, we've come this far. Let's keep going." It's like, no.
Just laziness. I don't want to go back. Let's keep going. Yeah, it does. After a while, it does start. You start to think, why don't you just keep going? But I guess they've got damage to the ship, so they
Yeah,
have
that's
to
big.
basically stick around.
So why not?
So there's a really bad dialogue syncing there.
Yeah, the sound mixing is pretty awful in some of these scenes.
Yeah, it's weird because this is the director's cut. You think this is where they'd work all of that out.
Oh,
So
the act is gone.
so apparently the director's cut was it's actually shorter I think than the theatrical cut, and it
Really?
was I think made for the 2003 DVD release, like the 25th anniversary or something,
Yeah.
and it was made because they found all of this footage in like a vault in London. So Ridley basically took all the footage and just re-edited a version, and he took some stuff out for like pacing. Like there's a scene where just before Dallas goes into the vents to look for the alien, he's basically sitting in his chair asking Mother what his chances are, how they could possibly kill this creature, and the computer just keeps saying, I do not have sufficient data to answer that question. But they just sort of cut that, I guess, and jump straight to
Mm.
events. So there's a few scenes they cut and a few things they added, and there's a few like alternate takes apparently. So it's more like an alternate version than like an extended version.
It's not like Blade Runner where there's 12 different versions of the movie.
But yeah, Blade Runner's got heaps of versions. Yeah, I'm not sure because like what to think of that because I'm not really I don't really like the new all these alterations that Lucas makes to the Star Wars films.
Ugh,
I
yeah.
kind of I mean I think most people would agree that the director's cut of Blade Runner is superior because they take out all of the narration.
Yeah, it is.
So it's hard
Definitely.
to there's like you sort of got to take it on a case by case basis rather than an overriding principle. Do directors have the right to keep tinkering with their art, or should they just leave it as like a product of their time and their budgets, and just look to future projects?
Oh, look at that shot. Apparently, Ridley Scott would just walk around with incense until it got this nice soupy mist on
Yeah.
the stage.
So this is a stage. Okay, cool.
Oh,
Okay, are
there.
you ahead of me? I'm looking at the ship, the like
I'm
cross.
looking at it. Yeah.
Yeah. Um. Apparently, this was designed. I mean, as I said, there's lots of sort of organic imagery throughout the thing. Apparently, it's meant to look like fallopian tubes, basically, the ship.
Mm.
I like the grainy, sort of handheld cam footage. I don't know, it somehow adds authenticity to it.
Yeah, apparently they couldn't get the because it's a scale model and they couldn't get the camera down low enough to get a good shot of the ship. So he got a Ridley got a handheld, got it down low, and then to make it look like this, he just ran it through a TV monitor.
Right, yeah. I like how he says we have to go on. It's really weird.
We have to keep like says who?
Yeah, but just the way he says it, like, I don't know. I guess it's kind of suggesting, I mean, ultimately, yeah, their curiosity is what kills them. I mean, they find the space jockey. They find where the source of the distress signal is coming from. There's nothing they can do, so they could just leave, but he wants to keep looking. I mean, that's the kind of human curiosity is what kills them. They want to keep exploring and excavating and exploring the natural world and penetrating deeper and deeper, and that gets them in trouble.
So why is it called the space jockey? I don't think I have ever gotten an
Uh,
explanation.
it's just a it's just a term they used on the set, I think.
Hmm.
It's not used in any of the films, I don't think. It's just something they used to refer to it. Like the xenomorph, I don't know, is that do they use that in the actual films? Or is that in the second one? I can't remember.
I
'Cause
think it might be in the
that's what the
third one.
alien is actually referred to, like in a classified sense. I kind of
Going
like
in.
that it's not given a name in the film. It's just
Yeah.
this uncategorized. They have no idea what it is. Adds to this idea that it's like formless, like you don't know what it is. You don't even like you never really even see the thing in its entirety. You just see a collection of body parts basically, and you sort of form the full picture of the alien in your mind. Obviously, in the sequel movies, you see the whole alien, but in this very first one, it's very mysterious, and you only see these fleeting sort of flashes of it, and then it disappears.
Geiger's design. It's like this mixture of flesh and hydraulics.
Yeah, it's like a skeleton or something.
Little knuckle bones.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like an organic spaceship.
Lights on the helmets were a good idea.
Sorry?
I said the lights on the helmet were a good idea.
Alright, yeah.
I don't know if we ever get a clear vision of the universe outside of like what's going on with the Nostromo and then what happens in Aliens. It's like they're not terribly shocked when they find an alien life form. It's like has mankind encountered aliens before in this
Right.
universe?
Yeah, yeah, I kind of like that. It's not, you don't get this overarching view. You're just basically thrust into the middle of this universe. I mean, and basically they're not going over this kind of stuff because that's not the kind of thing you think about. You're just talking about day-to-day activities. Oh, that's a cool shot.
Apparently they used children to give this scale.
Right. Okay. For like stunt doubles, yeah. Yeah, apparently this thing is like 26 feet tall, and the studio didn't want to do it originally. They didn't want to pony up the dough for it because it was really expensive to make, and it was only going to be used for one shot, for like 30 seconds basically of footage. But I think one of the designers convinced them to do it because it would be such an arresting image, and it would be like that moment when you realize this is not like a B-grade horror film. This is like supposed to be something substantial and like epic. And again, it alludes to this like universe and this world that's so much bigger than this story, but it never actually goes into it. It just kind of suggests it.
Well, until 2012.
Well, I don't really care about Prometheus.
I'm just gonna keep bringing Prometheus.
That's that's the thing. Everyone says, "Oh, yeah, there doesn't sequels and remakes. They don't ruin the original, but they do." I love this zoom in on the creature's eye. It's like everything he's seen, they're about to experience.
Did you ever read Sandman comics by Neil Gaiman?
No, I haven't read many comics.
I was wondering, in brief aside, but I was wondering in those comics if he took Neil Gaiman took inspiration from the space jockey, just because the main character has a helmet that looks just like that, just this elephantine sort of nozzle coming off of the face.
Right. So that was after Alien, was it?
Right. Early
Okay.
90s.
Cool. Where have I heard Neil Gaiman before? What else has he done?
Uh, he's done a lot.
Okay, maybe I've heard that name before.
American Gods? Ring a bell?
Sorry?
American Gods? Good Omens?
Nah, I don't read many comics. I just thought he did the movie or something. That's alright. Apparently this movie, when it was in the script stage, it was called Star Beast, but it was eventually changed to Alien during pre-production because it was like a lot more simpler and mysterious. And I mean, the director says it's a noun and an adjective, so it's very sort of sinister and other. But in other countries, it was referred to as Alien: The Eighth Passenger. And in West Germany, it was called Alien: The Uncanny Creature from a Strange World, which is the worst title ever. Or maybe it's the best title ever. I don't know.
Just gonna lower you down here.
I love how huge that they make that look. I mean, it's probably a miniature, but it's just so
it looks like a map painting.
Yeah.
Map painting.
Yeah, well, apparently a lot of the design of the film is based on paintings from H.R. Geiger. Both the alien design and the sort of the planet and the spaceship. So this looks like this sort of ring thing that he's walking on looks like the spine of a giant or something.
What's great about these eggs is they would get offal from like a local butcher shop and line the inside of them with basically cow stomachs.
Oh, yum. Yeah, there's a lot of like, I mean, on one side you're like, I know it's just a movie, these people aren't really going through this. But on the other side, these actors are having to have, you know, be in contact with entrails and animal guts and cow stomachs and
Mm.
like there's a lot of physical stuff that they're having to do, and it's not CGI. And the smell, God, can you imagine the smell?
Well, they got helmets on.
Well, yeah, but like for the dinner scene, for example,
Yeah.
or the cyborg scene. My God, all
Oh god.
that white stuff.
Apparently it was just milk and pasta and a bunch of glass beads.
It doesn't look like milk and pasta. So this blue mist, apparently, Ridley Scott describes it as like a kind of a sensor that senses when like a potential host is in contact with the eggs.
Hmm.
So
I wouldn't have guessed that.
So it'll get ready once the blue thing has been breached.
Oh, okay. So are you seeing the egg right now?
Yeah, and there's something
Okay. So
inside it moving.
yeah, the thing inside it, that's Ridley Scott's hands.
Ah, cool.
He just shoved them down in there and then they underlit it.
Again, you're just thinking maybe you should get out of here. It's like on one hand, it's like you want to be, you're human, you know, you're naturally curious. You're scientist. There's scientifics. There's a science division on the ship, so maybe you should be invested in investigating this new life form. But on the other hand, it may impregnate and kill you.
There's your cow stomach.
Oh my God.
See, if it ate through his helmet, I mean, it's not breathable atmosphere. How did he survive?
Well, the thing is breathing for him, they say.
All right.
I don't know how that works if there's no atmosphere. Yeah, I guess
Don't think about it.
I guess he just does whatever the lungs do in the human body. So he's what do the lungs do? They
What do the lungs do?
yeah, like
Take in oxygen and
yeah,
then
no, I
they...
know what they but what is that that's like a mechanism to do other things in the body. Maybe he just does those things. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. Get off my back.
Oh, Ripley being the one sane person on the
Yeah,
ship.
nobody follows protocols in these movies. Ripley's the
Don't
only one.
rank quarantine. I love how they just yell at her like that's gonna change, like, they could bring foreign bacteria onto the ship. That's one
Yeah.
thing that these movies never seem to take into account is the likelihood of really virulent viruses or amoebas that like can survive in outer space.
Yeah, and also shouldn't there just be a part of the ship that is quarantined for medical things, like a medical thing that can be accessed from the outside of the ship, but it's still sealed off from the rest of the ship?
Mm.
That makes too much sense.
It's not visceral enough.
Yeah, there's so many points where if they just did this one thing, there would be no movie.
Yeah, and apparently he can just override the locking mechanism on the quarantine.
Yeah. But on the other hand, it's like Ash is manipulating this whole thing, so it is kind of
Sure.
it does make sense why all these things are happening.
I've always loved how the helmet comes apart like a nice soft melon. Ah,
Hang on.
come on, open up.
Uh,
Come on.
so one of these days. There we go.
Love it. Yeah, you think they would be wearing like full body helmets or bodysuits?
Just throw him into space. You cannot deal with that.
Oh, the way it tightens, the tail tightens around his throat is so perfect.
Have you played any of the Metroid games?
I had years and years ago.
So this is obviously Metroid has the Metroids have ripped this thing off where they attach themselves to a face and start
Yeah.
and then the Samus Aran's nemesis is called Ridley,
But
and
bah!
it's basically a very alien-like creature.
Ripley, Sigourney Weaver did not know she was going to get hit.
Yeah, I read that. she kept flinching away for like 4 takes. So Ridley Scott just says, "Oh, just slap her. We're like wasting film." So her reaction was genuine.
What always bothered me about this is that, like, they instantly go for the fingers to try to get it off the head. I don't know why you wouldn't just go for the tail first.
Yeah,
They're truckers, not doctors.
it's you're kind of thinking, how much is Ash? I guess he's invested in not doing the right thing, so none of the other people know what to do. I mean, the guy Parker is screaming, "Why don't you just freeze him?" And Ash is just kind of
Silent.
manipulating them into letting the alien do its thing. Although I guess Ash probably doesn't know what the alien's sort of cycle is. So he wouldn't know that the creature is impregnating him, but he just wants to keep it alive, I guess. So he snips one of the legs instead of cutting the tail and robbing it of its host.
Like, the reason it works, I think, in the script, though, is it's so typical of situations where you have someone who has specialized expertise, and it doesn't matter that everyone else feels like they should just freeze him or they should just cut it off. He's the scientist.
Yeah.
So when he says, no, we're going to do this thing, they concede.
You have to defer to his expertise, yeah. And he's incredibly like sort of restrained in everything he says. Like every time anyone asks him a question, he'll give this long pause and then he'll give his deliberation. So he's very manipulative. But yeah, I really like Ian Holmes' performance. It's really measured and sinister and cool. Sorry.
Apparently the idea behind the cyborgs in this, not post-apocalyptic, but in the future, was that when these mega corporations send these ventures into space and they want their investments protected, they always plant a mole within the crew to make sure that the interests are protected.
Oh, you gotta do it. You gotta put a cyborg on board.
Those mega corporations gotta protect the shareholders.
Gotta make that money.
We're approaching 1980, I mean.
You want the Russians to win?
Oh, this is so great. I wonder how they did this. They didn't talk about it in the commentary.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess the floor is maybe just some
styrofoam.
Yeah.
This is a really cool idea of them running down to the levels.
Yeah, it's a great use of the environments. Apparently the idea of having acid as blood, besides being just badass, was invented so that they could to explain why they wouldn't just shoot the alien. They had to use flamethrowers because it would it would sort of stymie the splatter. It would sort of cauterize the alien's wounds, I guess. But yeah, it's such a cool idea as a defense mechanism. Although at the same time, like, how would that creature even develop acid blood if it's just been sitting in an egg with no other predators around? Unless it's been evolving for like millennia, millions of years, and it's had all of these predators that it's had to deal with, and it's basically just wiped them all out systematically, and now it's just been sitting in hibernation ever since. So, you know, it was like a once a thriving planet that it's just killed everything.
Well, it can survive in the vacuum of space, so
yeah.
Who knows?
Although I suppose the idea of having acid for blood, maybe we would only think of that as dangerous to humans. Maybe other animals, I don't know, it wouldn't be as dangerous to. They had like a hard sort of outer shell, whereas humans have this soft pink flesh.
Here's your pen.
Don't chew on it.
That poor dude.
Yeah, he seems a bit slow. I like how, what's the, is it Parker? Yeah. He's in the early stage of the film, he sort of comes off as a bit of a bully in the way he talks to Ripley and the way he's sort of conspiring with this guy. But so you kind of think of him that, you know, he'll be like, when the shit hits the fan, he'll be sort of the psycho that's bullying everyone and going nuts and trying to fend for himself. But he actually sort of steps up and protects everyone and kind of embodies a more heroic role in the film.
Hmm. Couldn't give him a more dignified onesie.
I don't know. Can give him some pants at least. Maybe they want his like skin to breathe or something.
I learned from the commentary that it is more costly to tile a circular room.
Ah, I guess
Apparently, because you
'cause
waste more.
and what do the tiles have to be curved?
I guess there's more waste production. I don't know. I have no idea. Ridley Scott taught me a lot.
Well, yeah, I mean he's poured an enormous amount of like money and effort into the set design, so he wants to show it off.
He
But it
talked
does
a lot.
it does give the film a really unique look. Oh, hello.
Ripley with her badass pilot getup.
It's interesting that Ripley isn't even sort of positioned as the protagonist for like the first. I mean, how far in are we? Like half an hour? Hang on,
Hmm.
my bloody controller's falling asleep now. Yeah, like 45 minutes, and it's still not clear that Ripley's like the main character. Um, so it is kind of really, it is like any one of these people could be killed off.
Right.
Especially the first time you watch the movie, it's not clear who's going to be like the sort of survivor.
Well, they talked about how when they were writing the script, there was this the knee-jerk screenwriter's reaction of we need to give these people like delve into their character histories and what are their emotional turmoils and their problems, and
Yeah.
eventually they didn't care.
Nah.
Like her performance is so muted in this film. I'm always kind of surprised looking back at it. Everyone's kind of muted in this movie.
Yeah, it's more their kind of responses to the situation that flesh out their personality rather than any kind of exposition. And it does kind of the fact that Ripley is basically everyone's being killed off one by one, and Ripley is the last girl. It does kind of play into this horror trope of there being like one girl left to face the serial killer. But I think it kind of gets away with it because she does play such an authoritative, like resourceful role throughout the movie. I mean, she is basically the leader from the midpoint of the movie onwards.
Hmm. It's a, in it, aside from some of the sexual politics of the movie, but it's the power that's with the crew is irrespective of anyone's gender. It's never brought up. It's never really
Mm.
an issue.
Well, apparently, the original script basically just said all the characters are unisex. They could be played by a male or a female.
Hmm.
Like it wasn't even the idea that that would like. I'm trying to think of specific points where they embody more masculine or feminine characteristics, but they probably could have been played by. Although the fact that they chose a female for um, Ripley kind of is, if not important, certainly iconic within like the history of cinema.
Yeah.
But it also there's kind of this duality, I guess, with the alien, the adult alien, which is incredibly masculine and sort of phallically sexually aggressive.
Hmm. Well, usually I mean, especially in the 70s, like you would have your female character who is basically the emotional filter for the audience,
Mm.
and Ripley, I mean, I guess they have Lambert for that, but she's not overly emotional considering the circumstances. And then
Well,
Ripley is
she does seem vulnerable though. She's starting to freak out and she's just feel a bit timid.
mm, compared to everyone else, whereas Ripley is very authoritative and hyper competent.
Yeah.
Where to go? There's the scene that there's a scene like this in Aliens where Ripley and Newt are locked in the med bay.
Yeah.
To this day, to this day, my mother cannot watch that scene.
When the facehugger's scuttling after them, and
Oh, she squirms. She can't take it.
yeah. Yeah, I watched like 10 minutes of Aliens like a couple of days ago, and I need to rewatch the movie. It's so good. It's a very different movie, but it's really exciting as an action movie. I like how there's lots of jump scares in the movie, but there's also a lot of the horror is more from the kind of ideas and the implications of what's going on, and some of the imagery, like just the sort of static imagery of what you're seeing is like really psychologically unnerving. Like the chestburster sequence, obviously, and
all horror is claustrophobia. There's
yeah,
nothing more claustrophobic than having something in your body that doesn't belong there.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, there's the idea of like parasites and disease is like very present. Having this foreign body inside your body, but also this foreign creature inside your ship. And there's no way to get out. They're in space. It's like being on a ship. Whoa.
I always thought she could have thrown that a little better.
I don't know what I would have done. I don't think I would have grabbed it with my hands.
Probably would have started crying.
There probably could have been a better way of like finding that thing. Maybe they could have frozen the room or something. I wouldn't be like poking around the corners of the room if that thing's hanging about. I love that it snaps up like an insect, like a rigor mortis insect.
Apparently that's just a big dead oyster in a plastic casing.
Right. Yum.
Yeah.
This movie is so gross. Some of the imagery is just like, I don't know. I mean, it's awesome. You can't look away, but at the same time, it's like, God, why? Why would you think of this? God's sakes, Ripley.
That thing could have all sorts of bacteria.
Yeah, they're just breathing it in, sucking it up their nostrils.
It's 2037. They don't have the technology.
We don't need masks. Nobody listens to Ripley.
Shut the door. Bam! Same thing happens to her later in the movie.
Yeah.
He makes a really dumb decision. Like, I just want to get off this rock, even though our ship is not fully repaired.
Yeah. Yeah, he seems competent at other times, but I think you can see he's being unnerved by the situation. He just wants to get going.
It's the active stupidity of horror.
Yeah. It's this eagerness to get away from the thing that's attacking you actually kind of invites it to, makes you more vulnerable.
Got their Christmas lights on the underside. This is my favorite Christmas movie.
Yes. Yes, we probably should have done this for Halloween, but it can be a Christmas movie. I'll put a little Santa hat on the xenomorph for the image on the WordPress.
I guess this is a better Halloween movie. Die Hard is a good Christmas movie.
Yeah, definitely, yeah. I think Glenn's doing A Christmas Story, which I haven't seen, but he's doing that next week. So we've got like a bunch of audio commentaries now. I'm not sure how popular they are because the last one didn't get many comments, but it got like 200 downloads. But I don't know if many people have listened to it, or if that's just people automatically downloading it because they're subscribed.
Hey man, it's less editing.
That's true, yeah. As long as there's not too many patches of silence. Although I can't edit around it, it's just kind of awkward. And then they flew back home and lived happily ever after.
Apparently there's just an intern down there shaking their seats.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, I mean, because the actors have signed up for this, but what about all the sort of extras and interns, like, who are just doing this casually? Like, what are they thinking, being around all this stuff? I don't know how practical it is, but that's such a cool ship design. It does kind of embody like a ship, like a sailing ship with big masks or something.
All this delicious space food.
Everything's in plastic containers, and it looks like
Oh,
sludge.
that is so appealing to me.
Is it?
I like organization.
Okay.
Space cigarettes.
I think they're just regular cigarettes.
No, they're space cigarettes.
Took years of research, but they finally cracked space cigarettes.
You're in a highly oxygenated environment. You just can't be space cigarettes.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean.
Oh, Dallas.
Just he could have just said he's woken up. Oh wait, no, has he woken up yet?
Yeah, there
Yeah,
he is.
yes, yeah, yeah.
Oh, God, he looks like shit. I sympathize a lot. I've had some food poisonings where I've felt like he looks.
Right, yeah.
That's what this whole upcoming scene reminds me of. Just when you were so sick, you were sure you were going to die, and there's nothing anyone can do for you.
Yeah. You gotta make me a will. I'm gone. Yeah, I don't know how comfortable he would be if he's just woken up to have all these people standing around him.
He could be sick. They're in there with him. No protocol.
Nobody follows protocols.
Let's go get you some space pasta.
I wonder what would have happened if they had gone straight into cryogenic. If the alien would have just frozen inside him.
Hmm.
It might have
Well,
been. It might have been what they suggest in Aliens, where Ash would basically just get up and kill the rest of the crew, unplug them.
right. Can't trust a frickin' android.
Because he probably wouldn't get through customs or whatever system of
Traffic control.
traffic control they have on Earth if they knew he'd been infected with bacteria. I guess that kind of explains some of the lax protocols, the fact that they're not necessarily an official body or a military organization. They're basically just transporting cargo.
Oh, he starts to cough. It's gonna pop.
Here it comes. Close your eyes if you're squeamish.
Oh, and it takes forever. The scene goes on.
The expressions on John Hurt's face are so disturbing.
Ugh. He sticks
When they're
his tongue
shoving
out.
a spoon in his mouth. Looks like they're attacking him. Kind of. So apparently, the actors, this was all done in one take, using 4 cameras, and the actors had no idea. Well, they had a basic idea of what was happening, but they didn't know the specifics. Like they didn't realize blood was going to be splattered on Lambert's body, and so their reactions are pretty genuine.
God.
Oh.
I always thought it was a little silly that it stands up so straight out of his chest.
Hey guys, what you eat?
His little I got a butter knife.
Well, that was weird.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to sleep. They always seem unusually calm after that. They're kind of just poking around looking for the alien, but what they've seen, you'd think. I guess maybe they're in shock or something.
Yeah.
But you'd think at least one of them would just be like rocking back and forth, shouting, "It's game over, man! It's game over."
Game over. Oh man, this movie needs more Bill Paxton.
This is cool. It's like when they drop a dead sailor at sea or something.
I think it's hilarious. Just
So, yeah,
flush,
it just
flush him
looks
out
funny.
of space. Well, they're like, does anyone have any words? Guess we didn't know him that well. All right, peace out.
It's so less dignified to push a button to lower someone to a grave than to, I don't know.
All right, it's like flushing your.
It just goes so fast. It's like a missile or something. Well, I don't understand why they can't just take it back with him to be buried in with his family or whatever.
Guess they don't have the resources to freeze him. I don't know.
I guess so. No, yes they do. They can just use his pod.
Yeah, I guess if they have enough resources to bring a cat, then like it seems like the scientific value of that corpse would be pretty high.
Yeah. Maybe it's just their decision. They just want to get rid of any trace of this creature.
Sure.
Maybe they might think more aliens could get out of it or something. Like it's just laid a bunch of eggs.
Jerry-rigged a cattle prod.
Yeah. So again, both of these weapons, the flamethrower and the cattle prod, are used because they don't want to puncture the alien's flesh and get acid all over them. Apparently, the concept of the alien, the parasite, basically latching onto a host and laying eggs and using it basically to hatch, was based on a caterpillar. Oh no, sorry, a wasp that O'Banion saw in a documentary where it basically lays its eggs, injects its eggs into a caterpillar, and then the caterpillar just goes about its day until the eggs hatch and it just blasts through the caterpillar. And O'Bannon just had like nightmares of this, and you put it into the script. And it's such a creepy idea.
I think all men are terrified of impregnation.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got a misconception about how birth works. Babies do not explode out of people's chests.
Anytime somebody in this movie says, "All right, let's split up," you know somebody's getting it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Would these horror tropes would people know about them yet, or are they playing around with those tropes, or are they actually being sincere?
When did Scooby-Doo come out?
Well, I guess with Scream, or maybe Scream was the one who kind of brought a lot of these tropes to light, but it's probably before that people knew about them. Oh, I suppose they knew about The Last Girl because they reference it in one of the commentaries.
The motion thing, the motion detector device is really cool. The boop 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 boop.
Yeah.
It's just a really good way. Well, they use it a lot better in the second movie, but it's a nice tension building device.
Yeah, it's a practical device, but it builds tension really well. Yeah. I don't think I would give the cattle prod to him.
Seems a little nervous.
So did they expect him to shock the cat? Wouldn't that kill the cat though?
Well, dire situation. I guess it would. I mean, that seems like a heavy-duty cattle prod.
Yeah.
It's so strange going back and watching like movies from early 80s into the 70s because these shots and these takes and these scenes are so long compared to what we're used to now.
Yeah. I kind of like it. Just lets
I do too. It's
exist
just,
in the environment. Like yeah.
Oh, 1516. That's the year the Treaty of Brussels was signed. That's what this movie's clearly about.
Right. That's the good message. Let's get to the real issue here.
Yeah, Thomas More.
Vassals, am I right?
All right, guys. It never made a lot of sense to me that within a span of apparently a few hours, or even a day, the tiny chestburster turns into a big ol' alien.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of growing considering it hasn't eaten anything. Well, I guess it's... Yeah, I mean, it subsisted off the body of Cain, but It's not enough to grow to an enormous, like, 10-foot like creature.
You go get the cat. We'll stay here.
I guess they're still thinking of. I mean, do they even give him a weapon? I guess they don't really consider the alien a threat at this point. They just think it's a little parasitic organism running around, snapping
Yeah.
at people. So I kind of see why they're not as afraid at this point.
He's gone for such a long time.
This
Here,
is
kitty.
such a horror trope. Hey guys, you guys around here? Who turned out the lights?
Meow. Apparently, that's just a bunch of dismantled helicopter parts.
Oh, cool.
Spray painted them gold and then wrapped them in gold foil.
So what are those supposed to be? Vents or something?
I suppose. It's almost like a temple. It's strangely beautiful.
Yeah.
Jonesy? I'm just saying, if this was me and my space crew, and he was gone for a good 15 minutes,
Yeah, but again, they don't think that the last time they saw it, it was just this little bunny rabbit-sized creature with snapping teeth. But I guess, if you can see the danger in the facehugger, they should be a bit more cautious about this creature.
Ew.
Uh-oh.
Someone left a rubber down here. Ugh.
Just leave that where it is.
The chains in this upcoming room were a great idea.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I love the enormity of this cavern. I guess, is it the engine room or something? Or the
I don't know. I think
coolant?
Ridley Scott said it was like under the cooling
Right,
towers or
yeah.
something.
And
So
the
that's
rain.
why there's all this condensation running down.
Yeah, yeah, the water sort of dripping down. It's cool. It's like this ship is so big it almost has its own ecosystem.
It's very organic.
Yeah. Some people thought this was actually rain. Like I don't know where from, but
Well, you can kind
because
of
they're in
forget.
space at this point, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you can kind of forget for a minute where you are. There's a scene. I think it was one of the deleted scenes where they're in the kitchen and there's a blinding light coming in through. It's supposed to be like a portal into like a hallway, but it looks like a window with sunlight coming through. And for a minute, I just did not question it. And it's like there's no
Ah,
sunlight in this
okay.
ship.
Yeah.
You just don't really think about it. Now this part, I always question like
Because
this
that
stuff.
looked like an open, vent or something.
This stuff could be slicking off like radon tubing or something, and he's just drinking it in. Oh, that's so refreshing. Coolant.
Ah.
There it is. There it is.
You don't even notice it.
Mm.
Just looks like some cables.
Apparently, that is a Nigerian grad student they found at a bar.
Yeah, apparently he's like 7 feet tall, and he had like really skinny arms, so he was perfect for the suit. And they had to teach him. They sent him to like sort of some class basically to slow down his movements, some like martial arts class.
Hmm.
Oh, Kitty knows
So,
what's happening.
so cool. Comes down so slow.
Oh,
Apparently, that's a KY jelly.
yeah.
Ooh.
Ruh-roh.
Totally forget this guy's name.
I think it's Brett.
Ah!
Oh.
Cat, don't give a shit. And then the blood starts to drip down on the camera. That's really great. This was not part of the original cut. This is a deleted scene.
The blood.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that they come in just as he's being picked up.
Like, where were you guys?
Like if you just walked in at that moment, it would be so creepy. And then he's just gone.
Oh, lost his buddy. I think this is where Lambert starts to have kind of a bit of a meltdown.
Yeah. Lambert's getting unnerved, but Parker is actually becoming more resolved. He starts to really want to kill this thing. You know, Ripley just wants to get away from it, figure out the best way to get rid of it. But Parker has like a vendetta against it at this point. He's got to collate the data.
What does that even mean? They're not scientists. They don't know.
Yeah, you're gonna say whatever he wants.
I don't understand. She won the supporting actress Oscar for this role, and it's like,
Did she?
It's like, is her performance that prominent in this movie?
I guess maybe because the film is so good and she's the only supporting actress, so they just gave it on the basis of the quality of the film.
Maybe
She's
79.
I mean, she's good. I think she's fine.
She's fine, but she's not like exceptional.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm giving the Academy too much credit.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. You can't judge like, you know, the Academy. There's a lot of politics going on at the Academy, I think.
Oh, this is one of my favorite parts of this movie. Look at that lighting. Also, just the opening and closing aperture of the doors.
Yeah, yeah. I can't remember. There was this really creepy siren used for the trailer. Does it actually appear in the movie?
What is it?
It's like a siren that's played throughout the trailer. It's just this wailing voice. It's very iconic, but I don't know if it's actually in the movie. I thought it might be during the self-destruction sequence, but maybe not.
The score's pretty muted. It has some
Well, it's not a score. It's like a siren in the ship to signify an emergency. I'm not sure. Maybe we'll see later on if it appears. But yeah, it's a really effective. If go watch the original theatrical trailer, it's this really creepy sound. It's just playing over images of the film. Like the actual film is silent, but the siren is playing over them.
This reminds me a bit of Carpenter's The Thing. Where
yeah, that's another good movie.
Walking down the dark passages with the flares. Can't imagine trying to light that. Must be a nightmare. Aperture, I love it. That's so cool.
Aperture.
The shrinking and the expanding of the door.
Oh, okay. Is that what aperture means? I know aperture science from Portal.
I think that's what it's called for a camera lens.
Oh, cool. I approve of their use of flamethrowers. Like they go in full. They don't go in with pistols. Yeah, I'm wondering if this film and like Terminator, you can see a lot of what, you know, video games taking a lot of cues from this era of sci-fi movies.
Well, it's when people who were developing the video games were teenagers.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Aliens especially. Yeah, like the idea of the turrets.
Whoosh. If I was really Scotty, he talked about how he just did not want to give the flamethrowers to the actor. It's going to be just a nightmare.
It's weird how the actual end of the flamethrower is lit. I don't know if that's how a flamethrower works, but it looks cool.
It's actually really intense when she, in a minute when he gets in that little cubby hole and she's like, it's right there. He can't see it. Also, Lambert starts to really freak out. It just...
It's like the most intense game of Snake ever.
Oh, KY Jelly. I don't know why. He gets a little freaked and he starts to mosey. He should have just stayed put.
Yeah. Again, it's like the more you try and get away from something, the more it chases you. It's weird that they only have like a two-dimensional map of the vents when it's obviously different levels. Like how... I think they'd have different...
Oh, there it is. I think he ditches at the flamethrower too. I forget. Let's see.
Ugh, that's so claustrophobic.
Hmm. No, he's got it. Up. Wow!
Whoa!
Dallas.
Dallas.
Apparently, when they shot this scene, they were really, really pushing Sigourney Weaver's buttons to get her to just flip out at the end of this film.
The actors were intentionally, or was it just written that
Yeah,
way?
apparently, like, Ridley Scott, he's like, okay, really start taking the piss out of her, just get louder and more obnoxious.
That's interesting, yeah. I don't really think about that stuff, that kind of method production. I guess that was really coming into its own in the 1970s. Like the 60s feel very sort of stage-like and theatrical by comparison, but 70s movies feel more, I don't know, visceral.
Oh, she's level. She's trying to calm her down. It's interesting what they say, like they have to have an excuse for why they can't just leave in the shuttle, and their excuse is that it can't sustain 4 people.
Yeah. Although Parker
And then,
obviously is pushing to kill this thing. He doesn't
yeah,
want
and Lambert's like,
and Ash is
let's
obviously
draw straws.
invested in... Sorry?
No, I was gonna say Lambert, she suggests drawing straws, which...
Yes, straws. Well, the vessel we see looks pretty big. I guess it only has 3 cryo chambers or whatever they're called. She's so level-headed. She's just trying to keep everyone calm and in focus. Like one's trying to run off and kill the alien single-handedly, and one's freaking out and breaking down. Ash is useless. Just collating his precious data.
She's just so confident. She's 29.
And this is her second movie.
No, it was her third, but like the one in between this and Annie Hall was not notable or anything.
Sure. Burn. So I like have the different moments of horror mapped out in my head, and I'm pretty sure the next moment of horror is Ash being eviscerated and exposed as like this
Decapitated
cyborg with like spaghetti for guts. So that's like my least. That's the one that's probably hardest to look at for me. Like not even the alien killing people, just the robot, the insides of the robot. It's just so unnerving.
I feel like if you had this omnipotent computer, they would have been in here sooner.
It doesn't seem to be an omnipotent computer. It doesn't seem to have any consciousness. It's just kind of mapped to the entire ship, and it'll take commands, and it has data. It has sort of knowledge it can give you, and it'll sort of pick up on certain signals and emergencies. But that's pretty much it. Like it's not like HAL or Skynet. Yeah. It doesn't have a consciousness. It just kind of is mapped to the whole thing.
How do we fix this problem, Mother?
I
She
think that
starts
was
to
I think that was the deleted scene, yeah, when Dallas is asking what to do and it says I have no information.
lose it a little.
Yeah, I think coming up, her nose starts to bleed, sort of
Yeah, I
for
don't
no reason
understand.
at all. And
Yeah, when she
one
did.
possibility is that she's just so stressed at this point. I mean, she's not showing how stressed she is, but she's so freaked out.
Whoa. I always expect her to jump because that always makes me jump. When he
She jumps when she looks at him.
Come on, don't cry, Ripley. Keep it together. No. She's pissed.
Yeah. And she never even considers Ash a threat because he's not sort of imposing or anything.
Mm-hmm.
He's never been aggressive. He's always been this very calm person.
Ugh.
But now he's just suddenly very sinister to the audience. So yeah, there's a nosebleed.
Ugh.
Ugh. That looks weird.
Just so disturbing.
Actually, there is a bit of a parallel. She's bleeding blood. He's sweating some white liquid. So you're
That's
starting
probably
to get
why.
an idea that he's not a human being. He doesn't bleed blood like her.
That's probably why they gave her a bloody nose.
Yeah.
Does that visual comparison? Ugh, God. He looks so dorky while he's throwing
Yeah,
her.
he's so
Slouch.
unintimidating, but he's so physically powerful.
Now this coming up is probably my least favorite thing ever.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a lot of least favorite things in this movie. Apparently that was the cameraman actually backing up and he hit the wind chimes.
Mm.
And Ian Holmes just kind of looked at it puzzled. I don't know if he was meant to throw her over the...
But yeah, there's like no reason for them to start moving. According to Ridley Scott, the reason why he does this is because the android has sexual impulses that it can't act on because it doesn't have the hardware, and so
Right.
it has this sudden like tendency towards sexual violence, and that's why it's going to try to. God, Ripley's strung out like under this shrine of porn, and it's just going to kill her with pure porn. And this is so
Yeah,
weird.
it's like date rape or something. Like she's not conscious.
Ugh, not necessary.
So it's kind of like this. He doesn't have. So it's kind of like this impotent, expression of sexual aggression. Rah.
Purple nurple.
Ugh.
Just push the magazine away. When his head falls back in a second, it's...
Yeah, the first time you've seen this movie, you have no idea that that's coming. You know there's an alien coming, but you don't know that some guy's going to get his head ripped off. Oh. Why? Headshot. And he's still gone.
Gross. The fact that it's white is just...
Yeah, it's like creamy.
Roady. Pasta, caviar, glass beads, and milk. That does not look like John Hurt.
No, Ian Holm.
You know, excuse me.
Ugh. Again, it's like re-establishing what the human body is. You think the head is the source of it, but for a robot, the entire body is a machine.
Cow fraud. There's a noodle.
Ugh. What is like? Why would a robot's innards be like that?
I think the idea was that it's so futuristic that you just cannot comprehend why the technology works the way it does. Just drill some holes through these glass marbles.
You think of the Terminator model where it's just a metal endoskeleton with living tissue sort of slathered over the top, but this is just like an organic robot.
Mm-hmm. Latex polymers and
like you might as well just have a human.
Oh, that's rough edit.
Ugh.
Apparently, he gave this really moving speech in the original draft of the script, but there was an ornament on the table or something that was driving Ridley Scott insane, and so he ended up scrapping it and just like having them do a different scene.
Ah, okay. What was the? Do you know what the speech was, or is this a
Yeah,
deleted scene?
it was basically he gave kind of his coda on his mournful existence, but then he started to ask them why they had never tried to communicate with the alien and that it might perhaps have a higher intelligence.
Ah, okay, that's cool.
Oop.
So I guess the android's kind of like a midpoint between the human and the alien.
Mm.
He does have these human impulses, but at the same time, he values rationality and primordial instincts above human morality.
The one thing I will give Prometheus is Michael Fassbender is pretty awesome as David the android, and he has a nice little quip in that movie where he says, what if you came all this way to meet your creators and they didn't have a good reason for, and all they could say was that they created you because they could, because that's apparently how he feels about his own existence.
Yeah. That movie was barely about Alien. Like I don't even, I think that was just another movie that they just at the very last moment tried to connect to the Alien franchise.
Well, you can see the tendrils. I mean, maybe it's just because I listened to the commentary and apparently the xenomorph isn't this natural in Ridley Scott's mind at least, it's not like a natural evolving organism. It was something that was created to infest and evolve based on the life forms that it's being a parasite of. And
Mm.
so, like the way he said it is that if like a human being gets impregnated, then you get a xenomorph that's vaguely humanoid. But if you impregnate an ostrich, then you get a xenomorph that looks like an ostrich.
Ah, okay, that's interesting. Well, I mean, I prefer the idea that it's this sort of ancient race that's just kind of developed on this lone planet.
Mm.
Um, but I do like the idea that it actually merges, it fuses with the biology of its host. That's cool. Yeah, I wonder what a cat alien would look like.
All right, guys. Final three. I have a good feeling we're all gonna get out.
Hey guys, let's split up again. That worked out well.
Jesus. Worst idea. She's like, I gotta go get the shuttle ready.
But
What
the
is
thing,
your hurry?
yeah, I think they're just freaking out at this point. They just want to get off this ship. Like, not only is the alien after them, but the company's kind of backstab them. What else? What other sort of contingency plans of this has the company put in place? They just want to get off this ship. Or I guess, are they on the ship or are they on the cargo thing?
I guess they're on the cargo thing because the shuttle is
Because yeah, the shuttle's
independent.
quite small. Yeah, I guess the tiny shuttle's actually towing this whole thing.
Yeah.
Is
There's
that?
the yeah.
Oh no, is that tow? No, that's probably not towing. It looks a bit small. I think that probably is an emergency thing. Who knows?
It's the most realistic thing that's happened this whole movie. She puts her hair up. They, what did they come down here for? Cooling drives? Cooling something? Like,
Um, yeah, they're getting canisters or something.
like coolant for cryo or something.
Maybe it's oxygen. I don't know. I'm surprised we're still so in sync with the video. Because
Did
me and
not.
Glenn, we were like 5 minutes off at one point. It's like, what?
I've not listened to that one
And
yet.
he was like laughing at things that were happening in the future.
This is where Sigourney Weaver she hears the cat.
Yeah.
Jonesy?
Sure.
Priorities.
Yeah, I don't know what to think of this because like I kind of wanted to
Mhm.
save the cat, but it's probably not practical to go after the cat.
Guess that cat. It's implied to be her cat, so maybe Ripley doesn't have anybody else.
Well, at this point, I think they're so broken down that they feel like she feels it's important. If there's another living thing, another good living thing on the ship, she wants to save it. She doesn't want to leave it to the mercy of the alien
Or the
to be
explosion.
impregnated and tortured and eaten.
Sure, and I guess her job is done. She just needed to crank up the shuttle.
Yeah, I guess you have to think, this ship is pretty huge. Like, it's not necessarily the alien's going to be everywhere at once. She probably feels safer in this part of the ship. It's only the kind of under passages that, well, I guess the vents basically is where the real threat is. So, just a couple of notes on the design. Apparently, originally the creature was supposed to have eyes, but for the production, the designer H.R. Geiger insisted that it have no eyes, so that it had this kind of bleak, cold expression, emotionless kind of beast.
It
And
works.
they also toyed around with the idea of having it be translucent and partly kind of transparent, like the sort of predator creature a couple of years later. But obviously, they decided not against that.
Got
And
a kind of pearly sheen. Oh, cat.
oh, there he is. Is this the? I'm trying to sort of map out the history of horror cliches. This is the first time a cat is causing all this jump scares.
No, I think they're definitely playing on an old haunted house trope of
Okay.
you open a closet and the cat jumps out.
It's not necessarily a screeching cat though. It's quite a cute cat.
Hmm. Ugh, I don't like this.
Here we go.
Oh dear.
Ooh,
I like how it
what was
just
that?
takes. Where did it come from? How did it get past him?
Now she's just kind of paralyzed by fear.
Originally, she was supposed to like squeeze herself into a locker and just die of fright, like have a heart attack or something.
I think it works better that she just sits there and shrinks as the alien shadow kind of towers over her. It's very predatory.
Oh, so good.
And the slick shaft. Oh.
Yeah, oh, great, nice wording. Get
And
out of the way.
Parker, with his delusions of morality, as Ash calls it, can't bring himself to incinerate it because he doesn't want to hurt Lambert. Ugh.
Just bum rush it.
That's not gonna work. Ugh.
I always when it does its mouth thing. I always hate how you don't get a good look about what it's penetrating. It's just like and then cut.
Yeah,
Cut away.
it's very, yeah. It is, I mean, it has been described as a kind of animalistic or interspecies rape thing.
Ugh.
Although, yeah, it's the two male characters, it punctures really violently, whereas with Lambert, it just molests her with its tail.
That's actually not her leg. They cut that shot from what's his name who went after the cat earlier, Brett.
Oh, okay.
That's actually his leg.
Oh, that was a clip from the previous kill, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, and then they just reinserted it to imply that there's this sort of sexual violation, which I could do without. Oh, Ripley, you're alone.
All alone.
Like watching this as a kid and as a teenager, this last run was just so tedious to me.
Really?
Because she has to go down. Okay, why is her foot barefoot?
Ugh.
Anyway, she goes down. So okay, she's running back up, and then she has to go. Well, hang on. She has to go set the detonation. She runs halfway. She turns around. She tries to stop the detonation, and then she goes back. It's just running back and forth.
Right, yeah. It might have been better if she had have done the self-destruct before she went to check on them, and then tried to run back once she'd realized they'd been killed to stop it and couldn't.
maybe it's a sign of my attention span, but it's more like whenever you have backtracking in a film, I'm always like, okay, come on, get to the
Right.
shuttle.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, I was fine with that. I guess because it's just her, she's having to do all these things individually,
Right.
and you feel far more vulnerable for her because it's not like one, she doesn't have help, but two, there isn't as many targets for the alien to go after. It's just her that it's focusing on now.
One of my favorite things in science fiction is like rods that you have to insert to set like a detonation site sequence. You ever
I
seen that like
can't remember any other ones that use that.
well, I was just playing Mass Effect and that actually happened.
Ah, okay.
It's like you got to pull this tube up and then maybe reinsert it to set a cooling process. I don't know what basis that has in
Oh
reality.
no, actually, there is that in Metro Prime 3. Yeah, you have to do that with the with the Wii remote. You have to pull it out and insert capsules and things.
Ah, running through the
So what is
steam.
this? What is the steam? Is that clearing the air or pressurizing it or I don't.
I guess it's just things venting
Yeah, okay.
because it's no longer like the cooling is stopped, and so things are starting to heat. Maybe
Okay.
there. Yeah, here's the deleted scene.
Yeah. Is that it's actually longer. There's a longer clip on YouTube. But I think this works better. Yeah, it's really creepy. Because you realize this thing's been going on the whole time. She's just only discovered it at this point.
Hmm.
So like the fact that the company's been orchestrating this whole thing from the beginning, you realize what the alien's been doing down here. It's really effective.
It's also really bizarre. Like it's almost like a honeybee or something making this waxy substance on the wall.
Yeah.
Like what is that?
So I
Just
guess in the sequel, you see this kind of thing happening,
hmm
and it's implied that that's how they're sort of setting up different eggs to hatch. Um, I don't know what the honey thing is for. I guess to supply the host with nutrients, or to extract nutrients from it, or to just hold it in
ugh,
place while the gestation period goes. But
it'll
I think
melt.
in this one, in the original script, is actually implied that the alien was basically just keeping him here alive to eat him bit by bit, to sustain off him until it could get its next kill.
It's so disturbing. His voice. It's just
Yeah,
this
he
thin,
just
reedy.
he only has enough energy to ask to be killed. Ugh. Yeah, it's really disturbing. I think there's like four really disturbing things in the movie. That whatever happens to Lambert, the cyborg head smash and the chest bursting scene.
Ripley, you don't have time for this. Like the ship's gonna explode in about 10 minutes. You could have gone.
Yeah, I kind of sympathize. If I was in that position, I wouldn't. I'd take a moment to look at. Yeah.
I'd say I got 10 minutes to get to this shuttle. You guys, hold on.
Yeah, her headspace is just all over the place. I think she's just barely holding it together.
Got the cat. Something great about she has her gun and her cat carrier. Oh, it's like I guess it doesn't have a lot of tension for me because we both know when she's gonna run into it, but just that always freaks me out when someone is backpedaling towards the camera, or it's almost like when you're playing like an old Resident Evil game where it's like you can't see the part of the hallway that you know something is gonna pop out.
Yeah. Yeah, Resident Evil was cool because it's always these fixed camera angles. You can hear the alien, the zombie smashing through the windows or groaning around, but you can't see them.
Mm.
You're always limited in your view. Oh, and
I always thought it was
the flashing
how she
lights.
slides across that wall.
Yeah, yeah,
Now she's gotta go back.
yeah. They probably could have.
Streamline this.
Yeah, they probably could have put the detonation thing before she finds Lambert. Oh, the cat. So she just dropped it, did she?
I guess so.
Okay. You think the alien would just run after her? Oh, maybe he didn't see her. Maybe he just saw the cat. Like he smelled something and he just saw the cat.
Go back across the windows.
Yeah, so I can't remember why she tries to. So is that the only way to get to the escape shuttle?
Yeah,
So she has to
like
stop the detonation until she can get there.
she could have blazed it. I guess she's so terrified she wouldn't be able to just.
Yeah, no, you're right. Having to watch this cylinder thing is a bit cumbersome.
I
Because it was cool the first time. Now it's just like, yeah, we've seen this.
think I sympathize the most with her. I feel like I've had a lot of nightmares about this, just not being able to stop a countdown sequence.
Right, yeah. We're not
She
being
gets
able to do it
really
fast
mad.
enough.
Mother, you bitch!
Yeah, it's very adolescent. She's yelling at her mother.
She gets an even better bitch line in the next movie.
Yeah, that's right.
See, I'm not convinced she had to go down that ladder into the goo zone.
So,
I don't
so at
feel
this
like.
point, is she just like running headlong at the alien? Like she knows it's down there? Is she? I mean, it's almost like an act of frustrated suicide at this point, because she knows it's down there. She's just belting away at it.
Just run. It's kind of like Jurassic Park. Just we're being hunted. Go now.
Yeah. No, no, but I mean actually running at the alien. Like
Oh,
she's dead now. The ship's gonna blow up. She's either gonna get past it or die. So she might as well just run at it with a flamethrower.
no option. I guess seeing this the first time might have had more sustained tension, but right now it's like, okay, just get to the shuttle. Gotta get Jonesy.
I can't believe you're not tense at this point.
I've seen this movie quite a bit.
Yeah, but
Come on, Ripley. Oh, thank God. Longest hallway ever.
oh, stuff's blowing up. Oh, I don't understand what that is. Why is it I guess overheating maybe.
Sure. Apparently the movie was just gonna, or it was kind of planned to end when she blasts off in the shuttle. But then Ridley was like, "No, we can't end there. We gotta add a fourth act."
Yeah, no, there
So
was a couple of different endings. One was that she would blast off, but another one was that a really dark ending where basically the alien would just appear and bite her head off while she's in the escape pod, and then sit down in her chair, and then like mimic her voice as he sort of flew back to Earth. I kind of want to see that now, but I like that she lives, but that would have been really creepy. There was also another ending where she starts getting undressed once she thinks she's safe, and that you basically see things from the alien perspective. You just see the alien sort of pop up, his head up, and it's just watching her basically undress. So yeah, once again the whole male gaze thing.
yeah. Well, like the implication, well, what they wanted to do with the ending they had is they wanted when she goes into the closet and is getting into the spacesuit, they wanted the alien to kind of peer in at her and gaze at her lovingly, like he's intrigued by this idea of a potential companion.
Yeah. Well, I guess yeah, because she is the thing that survived. She's like proved herself the strongest of her species. So I don't know. Maybe he thinks, wow, she'd be the greatest host of all. And then she'll have my baby or something, yeah.
Oh, she looks. Sigourney Weaver just looks so sick.
Yeah, you really feel the the trauma of this experience with her.
What gets me is that when she starts getting undressed and There's a very iconic shot, I guess, of her with her panties half up. That's in the storyboard. That's
Yeah.
in Ridley Scott's Ridley Graham's, who's
Yeah.
Ripley with
I
her
guess
drawer
it's
down.
sorry.
No, it's just I guess this idea of I mean, dude, I've done that. I've walked around my house with my ass out, but I guess it's just the idea of just she's so tired and just does not give a shit, and she's vulnerable, but it's also this voyeuristic view for the audience.
Yeah, I also think it's this feeling that she's safe and she's kind of taking off the armor of her sort of military uniform or of her officer uniform, and she feels safe, but she's just making herself more vulnerable. And yeah, it is like definitely the male gaze thing where that the audience is sort of leering at her, like the aliens just leering at her.
Oh, Charlie.
I'm not a cat person, but that is a very cute cat.
I'm a dog person myself,
Yeah.
so I probably would have left the cat.
Yeah, they should have had a dog. It could have barked at things like the Terminator.
Apparently, to get it to hiss down when Brett was trying to corral it in the cooling plant or whatever, they brought in a German Shepherd and basically just terrorized the cat into hissing.
Yeah,
Guessing they didn't have a lot of animal protection laws in the 70s.
that's right. This is all before CGI when they had to literally plaster the actors with entrails and terrorize cats. Everything had to be done practically.
It's so interesting to hear Ridley Scott in the commentaries because he's so proud of like how they did things back then and like the art that comes out of adversity, which is all true. But then he's like, "Well, if I did it today, though, I wouldn't have to do that anymore." Man, you got old, and
That's
lazy.
that's the thing though. Yeah, like every movie is a product of its time and the technology and its budget. Like, having unlimited money and having unlimited technology does not make a good movie if you want to, see the Star Wars prequels for that.
Yeah. God, I want to pull her pants up. It drives me a little crazy.
Yeah, again, it just contributes to this sense of
Oh,
safety. Well, there we go.
yeah, there's Sigourney's crack. Like,
Yeah.
no, I wonder though, like, if people in the audience, like the first time people saw it, if they cottoned on right now looking at it because
Yeah, this. Oh, there it is. Yeah, that shot was taking a while.
nowhere to go.
Well, that is kind of a trope, I guess, at this point, that the serial killer would get up, like Michael Myers would get up like 4 times after it's been killed.
Yeah,
I guess we just assumed it was on the ship when it blew up, but I'm not quite sure why it doesn't attack her. It just kind of lays there. Is it injured or is it sort of change in
sleepy.
temperature has kind of paralyzed it or something?
Maybe it's a little freaked by the explosions or something.
Maybe, yeah. Yeah, I guess she kind of, when she looks at the nuclear blast or whatever it is, the blast, she's kind of taken back by it.
Got handsome hands.
Like bat wings.
Piano player hands.
I guess you don't think about like maybe the alien itself is actually really drained by this experience as well. Maybe that's why it's kind of limping around. The same as Sigourney Weaver, or the same as Ripley.
I like her focus at the end when, like, there's nowhere to go. There's no choice in what you have to do.
I don't
Just
want to be found in my underwear, so I'm gonna put this spacesuit on.
considering that she's very smooth for a lady who has apparently just been out in space, for months and months.
Yeah, and I think when you're like frozen, doesn't your like hair keep growing?
No,
No?
that's not the kind of future we're living in.
Or maybe it's when you like no, maybe it's when you die. I think your hair or your fingernails keeps growing or something.
Mm. It's hard to get those. Well, I can see how you can get those confused. When you're frozen and when you're dead.
Well, but you're still living when you're frozen, so wouldn't your hair still like does it just freeze? The hair, the molecules just freeze? Like, or I don't even know if they're frozen. They're just kind of put into a deep sleep. So I don't know why your hair wouldn't keep going.
Why is there a control panel inside her helmet? Little control panel.
Yeah, maybe she can like input stuff with her nose.
What
Yeah,
in the world would they need a harpoon gun for in space?
for space whales. She's taken so long. Like I don't know what the alien's waiting for. It can obviously see her, unless it's like blind, and it can only sense like sounds and smells or something.
Just hanging out. Apparently it was keep wanting to call her Ripley, Sigourney Weaver's idea to have her singing to focus herself.
Right.
And had to buy the rights for I forget what the song is called. It's like Little Star or something. Lucky Star.
Is it a Madonna song?
I think so.
Because like, would someone from the 2030s be singing a Madonna song?
She's into vintage.
Oh, okay, fair enough. Classic oldies.
She does something in it that I've never quite understood, where she turns around. I guess because maybe she can't bear to look at it while it's coming towards her.
Yeah. Also, I think that's the direction that the open hatch will be, so she might not want to look at the open hatch.
Mm.
Maybe the starlight is, or if they're passing a sun or something, it might blind her, or a star. And I love how she sort of can't keep her eyes off it. Like she's both terrified and disgusted, but also just fascinated by it. The same way the alien is fascinated by the creatures, by the humans. Every time he sees one, he sort of looks at it and just starts touching it and prodding it. Like they're simultaneously disgusted and fascinated by each other.
It's a great shot of it coming off the floor.
This is basically the same ending as Terminator. She has to push the button, but she can't push the button. She just keep looking at the monster. She can't push the button. Ah!
This is pretty silly looking.
Yeah, this is some Doctor Who special effects right here. This harpoon gun. Yeah, that looks terrible.
Apparently, she was supposed to get sucked out with it, and like the harpoon was to like she was gonna shoot her way, like grapple her way back in or something.
Right. It's it's also
I
I don't think there would be any sound when she opened the door. Wouldn't it just like the vacuum of space just make everything quiet?
Mm.
That would kind of been cool if the second she opened the hatch, everything just went dead silent.
Mm.
This creature is just like struggling silently against the door.
Apparently, there was a lot of water they just dumped, put a light behind.
Yeah. I guess it's like plasma fuel or something. And now we transition into a very like sweet saccharine ending.
I think like what Ridley said was that you need to kind of linger on the downfall of this creature. In other words, there's no really catharsis for it.
Right. Yep. Yeah, a jet blast to the end, to the face is gonna get rid of something. It's pretty.
I'm sure she's gonna go home and live a quiet life now.
Yeah, with her daughter.
And her space marine boyfriend.
Well, no, she doesn't meet him until she knows her daughter's dead. She's got a cat. Is the cat in the second movie?
Doesn't the cat have like? Now I'm blanking. I feel like isn't the cat like impregnated with an alien creature or something?
Oh my god, can you imagine if the cat like crept up on her chest and like a little cat alien burst through its chest?
It's so awful.
Devoured by the cat she saved.
The
The end.
I'm stretching.
Yeah, I need some water. Cool. So you've kind of given your thoughts on the sequel. So what was it? Your ranking was 3, 2, 1, 4, I think.
Yeah, well, I don't count four, so it was like 3, 2, Alien vs Predator.
Oh my, you rank that one above this one.
That movie
What?
is a lot of fun.
That is an outrage.
And then Alien, and then I guess I'd probably watch Prometheus before I watch Alien Resurrection again. Even though I think Alien Resurrection is actually kind of a fun movie, but it's so bad.
Yeah. Okay. So what didn't you like about this movie as much? Just the sort of plotting final act and the some of the imagery was a bit disturbing.
Yeah, the plotting final act is a big part of it, and also I guess I just like character movies, and there's not a lot of character in this movie for me to latch onto, and so it's an
Okay.
it's an exercise in effects and tension, which
Right.
I can respect objectively, but it's not something that sinks its teeth into me the way that Aliens does.
Yeah, no, I see what you mean. Yeah, it is more about the imagery and the feel and the mood and the suspense. And once I guess you watched it once, that some of that is kind of diluted because you know what to expect. But yeah, I really like the second one. I don't know if anyone wants to do a commentary on the second one.
Are you planning on doing a lot of these?
Um, I don't know. I mean, I've got like favorite movies that I'll do every now and then, but I wasn't planning on doing a series. But why? Is there any other movies you wanted to do?
I thought you were doing like a sci-fi from 70s upwards or something.
Well, not necessarily. I just noticed that our last two had been sci-fi, so I said, "Oh, we'll do a third sci-fi movie." But I do want to do maybe Jurassic Park and Back to the Future, but that's the only
Hmm.
other two that I thought of.
Oh,
But yeah,
well, if
but
you're
yeah.
not going to claim Blade Runner, I might do that one.
Oh yeah, Blade Runner, cool. Yeah, yeah, but that'd be cool if we could do like a sci-fi classics one because it's kind of they're not really like individual movies. You can't really do. It's hard to do a whole podcast discussion of them, but if you're just watching the movie, it's kind of easier to draw out kind of observations and stuff.
Yeah.
Any sort of other movies you want to do commentary on apart from Blade Runner?
Oh, God, I'd have to think. I'm sure I could make a list. There has to be some that I'd love to talk about.
Have you got any upcoming podcasts you want to plug?
I just finished the Mass Effect podcast that
Oh, the famous Mass Effect podcast.
I think we did it 2 months ago.
Right. Yeah, no, I
It's
remember you
been,
talking about it on the Last of Us podcast.
oh God, yeah, it's just been kind of like a personal and technical nightmare trying to make time to get that done. But I just finished it earlier this afternoon, and
Oh,
so
nice.
I'm
So you can
gonna,
upload it now.
yeah, I'll probably send it in tonight if I don't pass out as soon as I hang up from this call.
What time is it in America?
It's only 10, but I've been up for most of today and yesterday.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, thanks for doing it with me.
Thanks for inviting me. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, me too. All right. So I guess that's Vassals of Kingsgrave signing off. Alien audio commentary. My name's Duncan or Valkyrist on the forums, and Katie.
Lady Griffin on the forums.
Is it Lady Griffin or is it Fenris? Because you sort of alternate between accounts.
Okay, I lost access to my Lady Griffin account for a while, and so I needed to get to the forums to plan for a podcast, and so I just made the Fenris one. So it's alternate. It depends on my mood.
Okay, well you can be your two personalities.
Yeah, whenever that Dragon Age podcast gets around to being made, sure.
Awesome. Well, everyone can look forward to the Mass Effect podcast, and I'll see you guys later. See you, Katie.
Bye.